Hello, friends. Well, it's getting pretty obvious to me that most of the time when I have the word matrix in my title or definitely talk about the matrix, that perks a lot more interest than when I don't have matrix in the line. So maybe I'll put matrix in there today. But it's interesting because it definitely shows me that I'm not the only one who is working my way out of what we call the matrix. Of course, based on the movie that came out many years ago, several of them. And it kind of gave us some kind of an image of what is really going on. And it's certainly every time I saw any of those movies, I felt that there was some kind of a switch or a click going on in my brain, like, oh. So I started seeing things differently. It was like, it's that little shift in consciousness where it's like a little tweak, boop, that's all it takes. And then you can see, oh, what I'm looking at is actually not real. And then you go, how's that possible? It looks real, it sounds real, it feels real, it smells real, the five sense mind. That is basically the matrix. And because we are 100% identified with it, we don't question it. And that's where we get lost every single time. So I talked the other day about something about exposing the matrix. And I talked about how it's such a subtle way that we get pulled in. And maybe I want to talk a little more about it because the more we hear this, the more I hear this, because this has been my path because of Joel Goldsmith for many, many years. And my goodness, look how long it's been taking me for me to actually be able to talk about it with more clarity and with more embodiment, and very aware that I'm not out of it yet, but I feel I know what steps to take. And the more I take these steps, the more clear it becomes. So by having this as a practice, it helps us becoming more and more clear and stepping out of it more and more. Even just doing my YouTube videos, it feels like I really dive into it energetically. So it's almost like a transmission where I tune into what is true and to what is not true, and I can speak about it. That at least is clear to myself. I don't know how it is for you. But I do appreciate the comments from a number of you, and it really warms my heart because then I know that I'm not the only one. There's so many of us who really want to get out of the matrix, but we don't quite know what it means or how to do it. And how will you know when you are out of it? Um, to me, it's a matter of, am I engaging in my five sense mind and believing it? And that happens a lot during the day because just like you, I live in my in the matrix because I still have a mind, a five sense mind that keeps projecting it as if it is out here. And it really is a virtual reality. It's like these virtual reality glasses you can put on. And those who do that, they're playing games or they're in fights and they are completely believing or feeling as if it is real. And that is not different than for us. Another metaphor that is good to use, I think, is that it is a dream. As long as we are in a dream, you can relate that to your own life. As long as you are in a dream, you're not questioning it. It's very, very real. But then when you wake up, you can talk about, oh, I had a dream last night. Some people do, what is it called? Lucid dreaming. I think that you can learn to be conscious, be lucid in your dream so you can probably maybe jump in and out or change the reality in the dream consciously instead of being pulled in by the dream. which usually shows us what is going on in ourselves on the subconscious level. So, I would say the more metaphors we have for the matrix, the easier it is to recognize it. And that is the first step. We need to recognize that this is not real. And we can only do it with the mind in the beginning, just by, for instance, listening to me or anybody else who talks about that and go, okay, so if this is not real, even though it feels real, how am I going to figure out? How will I know that? And that's where we come into this place inside where call it prayer or, open receptivity to the divine or to the field or to what is real. And then when we go there and say, okay, so if this is not real, then what is real? But because most of us are so pulled in by that whisper that I talked about the other day, the matrix, it's like this subtle whisper, or like Joe Goldsmith calls it, an hypnotic suggestion, right? It's a suggestion. It's like something is being whispered in your ear, and you accept it right away. You go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm bad, I'm terrible, I'm not good enough, I did something wrong, people don't like me. And it's like this little subtle thing that we often call the core beliefs, because they're so subtle and so tricky. We have just um, unconsciously accepted them as real, and then it's like they become the foundation or the basis of the life that we live and that we identified with. And because of that, everything that we do is kind of built on top of those beliefs, of those subtle suggestions, whispers. But we have to go up and meet them and accept them first. Then there's a click, right? Then we're hooked. And then we're going to be pulled away, further away from our true essence and deeper into the matrix, only because we believe that little whisper. And you know what it reminds me of course, now I'm sure you've thought about that too, but it's like in the Garden of Eden when the serpent came and, here, come, a very, very subtle whisper, and boom, they suddenly were out of the garden. And that is exactly what we're doing 24/7, unless we are aware of the whisper. And that's why it's really important that we know what these whispers are. So it's like we are shining light on them so we can really see them or hear them for what they are. And then if you have some sense of curiosity or suspicion, when we talk about this, you should be more suspicious about what these subtleties are. A lot of thoughts can be very noisy, and you can't really miss them. And it's like we have more choice there. But when it's so subtle, like, oh, you're not good enough, nobody likes you, it just goes in. It just goes in. You go meet it, and you feel awful. You're not connected with your true self. So there is something so important to stand guard at the door of your consciousness. That was another Joe Goldsmith way of saying it that I remember so well. We have to stand guard. And in the beginning, we may miss most of what we let in because it's so subtle and it's so tricky and it's so familiar, right? So familiar. And we don't even think about questioning it, because it's like, yeah, of course, I'm terrible. I'm not good enough. Or whatever it is, whatever the flavor is. That's a very common one. I'm not good enough. And that's what we take in. It's like the nourishment we take in to feed the part that is disconnected from our true self. So we must recognize it for what it is. That does not necessarily mean that it goes away right away. I wish. And it can be it can be more subtle at times where you think you've done a lot of work on it and here it is. But the more you know and can see it and can see through it for what it is, you start taking back your sovereignty, your divine sovereignty. It's like staff, and everything else that is unlike itself is simply not invited in anymore. It can be here, let it do what it wants to do. It's not there's no substance to it. It's an illusion, it's a veil, it's a matrix, it's an overlay that's going to run its course. But the more we stay here and the less we feed it, it will run out of juice. It has to, because the only reason it's still here is because it's still here is because we keep engaging in it. So it is not an easy path, and I know it's not everybody who wants to go through that, but I don't have a choice because it comes to me. It's been coming to me for so long. I get more and more clarity around it, and that's what I want to share. And it's they're so familiar, right? I had an incident the other day with something happened. I made a mistake. I said something that I shouldn't have said, or I didn't have enough information, so I shared something, and there was one person who got, she didn't really get upset with me, but she just told me, that was not the best thing to do. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I could see it immediately. Like, I don't have that sense that I need to defend myself or whatever. As soon as I heard it, I knew, like, oh yeah, that is true. I was not doing it out of malice. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I hadn't considered this angle yet. So immediately I would say, I am deeply sorry. You're right. I wish I had waited. So there was just that little interaction. It was short, it was sweet, no biggie. But afterwards, then the old familiar flavor of you're bad. You did something wrong. You know that one? It's like, oh, I knew that one so well my whole life. And here it was, right? And I could feel it. And in that feeling, I could feel there was a whole story there. Now nobody's gonna like me. Everybody's gonna be upset with me. There, I could just sense it. That whole thing was waiting to come in. And I could feel it. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm bad. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I recognize that invitation or that suggestion. It's like, so I kind of had to really be present with what it brought up in me, the feeling, the discomfort, just breathing through it and not trying to bypass it or ignore it. It's like, no, it's here, and I can see it still has a little bit of a connection inside, so I just would feel that, like, okay. And then eventually it went quite fast. It didn't bite me, because I didn't let it bite me. I just, like, I could see it. I let myself feel the impact that it wanted to have, because I could just feel this, like, ooh. But I just stayed with it. And I could see this story, and I was so not interested. And then it was gone. Poof. So that was very, very fast. Things like that could linger for days or weeks. You can probably relate to that, where we just go and feel bad about it. Oh, we did something wrong and I'm bad or whatever, and people are going to be upset. And no, it was here, but it was not here. The invitation was there. I didn't accept the invitation. So that is why when we can recognize it, the sooner we can, the better. And then we can just really notice it. It's like, wow. And it's interesting, you just can feel like, wow, what is this? What is this? And the whole thing that goes with it, what is that? But it's because you're here, you're not in it. you can observe it, you can be present with it, you can be present with the impact that it might have on you, but you're not giving your energy to it and let it pull you into the story. So that's why I find it really important that we can all learn to recognize it. And the moment we make it conscious, we recognize it, that's where we have a choice. I have talked about this so much, and I probably will continue because I think that is a huge step that most of us really need to embody and master, so we don't get pulled into the matrix anymore in here by these suggestions. So it's powerful work. And of course, if you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me. You can always set up a self-discovery session. And I hope you will join me this coming Tuesday in a couple of days for my next online gathering called Feel Your Deepest Longing, Find Your Spiritual Calling. And that has a lot to, it's all connected, right? And interconnected. Because the more we live in that longing of the divine, that gets stronger and stronger. And this gets weaker and weaker because our energy goes here. It does not go there much anymore. So I hope you will join me. The link to join is in the description below. And please comment. Let me know again how this lands for you. Is this something you resonate with? Are you having challenges with it? Are you having successes? Please share. I think everybody would love to read about it and hear about it. All right, my friends, be well.